Hello, everyone. Happy Canada Day, episode 24 of the Jocks and Jills podcast. Tessa and Julia with you. Happy summer. How we feeling? How we doing? I have to address an elephant in the room. I feel like my eyebrows are giving Emma Malte. I went to a new girl this morning for a wax and tint. If you're watching on YouTube, I also have a pimple patch on. That's where we're at today, Tessa. Like, I get a wax and tint. I get the same thing every time. Ugh, but what the hell is this? They look square at the front. That's not how human eyebrows grow. Like, she gave me Instagram brows. I don't want them. So I'm just scrubbing and rubbing, but this is what I look like right now. How are you?
I'm good.
If I do that, like, I'd have the police called on me. I'm too Italian to let my eyebrows do whatever they want, dude.
Well, I think you look fine from here. Let's be honest.
If I let them have free reign, I'll have flow on my face if I let them have free reign.
If the wind blows the wrong way.
You got Canada Day plans? What are you up to?
Yes and no. We're kicking it close. You know, we thought about going away and doing stuff, and then it's like our kids are so little still that, like, I don't know. Like, we can do some stuff, but like not all of the stuff. You know what I mean? And then it's just like we have neighbors with pools.
I feel that.
We have Ed's brother-in-law with a pool, and it's like we can have so much fun here. We're fine, and our neighbor's having a pool party on Canada Day, so we'll take the kids there. We want to come see Enzo. The Blue Jays are playing, so like there's stuff to do. We're like, nah, we're tired. We need to just chill and be. And like the kids last weekend, the kids had a wild weekend. My sister was in town with her kids, so they were like partying all day, every day with her kids, with their cousins. So we're just chilling out. What about you?
Same thing, honestly, like literally the same thing. Our baby is too small to really go to the cottage with the other. Liam's family has a ton of dogs in the family. Like, his mom has a big dog, his brother's got 2 big dogs, other brother's got 2 big dogs. So we're keeping the baby close to home this weekend and just chilling. He's been good so far though, Tess. 1 week into puppy motherhood. I think still like he's too small to be much trouble, but it's been good recently with the puppy. My first time puppy motherhood.
Going. Way to go, Enzo. What a pup.
You have dog news too.
Yeah, Tanky. Oh my gosh. So we mentioned last episode it was her 10th birthday, right? So
yes,
Ed works out.
You literally had a 23andMe dog moment.
I did. Ed works out sometimes at a gym in here in Milton, and so we both posted on Instagram happy birthday to our pup. And one of the trainers from the gym messaged him and was like, "Yo, one of my friends' bulldogs, English bullies, turned 10 on Monday as well. Where'd you get your dog?" And we were like, "Well, this is where we got it." And they're like, "Shut up. That's exactly where they got their dog." So Ed connects with this other dog owner, and she's got a million pictures of her dog named Frankie.
So
and
cute.
Tanky. And it is Tank, but a boy, bigger, obviously, because she was the runt of the litter, and just darker spots. But they are I'm looking at this dog, and I'm like, someone just changed the color on my dog. And it's
someone
like,
turn the brightness down on my dog, and that's my dog.
Yeah, honestly, that's exactly what it looked like. And we were like, "Oh my god, it's so exciting!" We were supposed to meet them Saturday, but Frankie had some medical issue pop up, unfortunately. But he's okay. So we're just going to give Frankie some time to recover. And then that obviously instilled a little bit of fear in us. So Ed immediately booked an appointment at our vet. I laugh. But like, we love her so much. Like, we cry when we talk about the days that she won't be around. But and so she got checked up. The vet was like, "Look, for an English bulldog, if I were to look at her and I didn't know what age she was, I'd tell you she's 6 or 7." So I was like, "Hey, Frankie, you're a hot dog. Way to go, girl. You're killing the life game." So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
we're waiting to meet Frankie, which is pretty cool. Hopefully Frankie's okay, because Tank's a diva. Okay. So like when she's out on a walk and other people have dogs, are like, "Oh no," they like bring their dogs the other way. I'm like, you could drop your dog on top of my dog and my dog would be like, "This is my world. Get out of it," kind of thing. Like, she's such a diva, like just nose in the air, like doesn't care about other dogs or, quite frankly, people unless they have food. And so, yeah, I feel like, I don't know if her and Frankie would be like, would remember. Would they remember each other, do you think? Because
I
Do
have
they
no
share a
idea,
smell? I
dude.
don't know.
Like, I need to know though.
I
Yeah,
know.
I don't know, but we have to
It's
find out
killing
for
me. I need to
science,
see them
for
together
Tank,
for
for Frank.
science.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm 100% going to be recording it. 100%. So
Okay. I was
whatever
gonna say we
happens,
need the
happens.
footage.
Yeah. And like another update for you. We've got like I I love animals and stuff, but like there's birds that are building nests up in my area and they all had my thing is like I won't break your nest down if you've got little babies in there. And
Okay, wait,
like
wasn't Liam the
they
one that noticed this when we were sitting in the hot tub that night? He was like, "Hey, you got a
the pi-
bird's nest there," and you were both like,
that one yeah, that one's a
Yeah.
not a pigeon, a dove nest. So that's like
Oh,
gone.
is that bad?
There was no babies
Oh,
in there.
mm,
No, they just poop everywhere. The pigeons poop everywhere. Anyways, so
right.
we had robin's nests elsewhere. We looked in them. There were eggs in some of them. And it's like super cute because we're like, oh, we told the kids, which I don't know, good idea, bad idea, whatever. And then there was ended up being like a dead little birdie in our backyard. And then there were two little birdies up on our porch that hatched and we watched the parents feed them. And now they're just not there anymore. And there was like a little baby
Mm,
feather around. And I was like,
I don't know.
I hope that meant you
Circle
learned
of
how to
life, would you?
fly.
That's what you just got
Yeah.
to tell the kids, I
Anyways,
think. That
you
little
just
guy's
got to
soaring
get rid of the
around.
nest. Yeah. Don't let them happen. Gosh.
Yeah,
So we're nest plucking this weekend.
nice. Before we get to our
Thanks.
headlines, Tessa, we wanted to float something to the crowd about merch
What's that?
because we're thinking about it.
Yeah.
Honestly, the
Do we
biggest
do it?
request for merch that we got was after you had your "Hey, what's up, I'm Tessa" moment at the draft. People really want that on a shirt, and we brought that up. But like, we're into the idea of merch. I'm into the idea of like a Jill on a hat, like a dad hat with a Jill on it. It says Jocks and Jills in
Yeah.
the back. Like,
I
let
dig
us know
that.
what you guys want to see. Merch wise, if it's hoodies, if it's like tank tops, if it's sweat
Let us
sets. I
know.
love
We
sweat
want to hear.
sets. Like, you know me, I live in sweat sets. So let us know what you want to see, and
I'm wearing
we're
one.
kind of starting to think of what we want that to look like. So let us know your thoughts.
Yeah.
We like to hear from you guys when we make those calls. So let us know what you think on that front. And with that, Tess, let's get to our headlines this week around the PWHL and women's hockey, and really exciting news for USA hockey fans in general. Man, it's been too long since two women have gone into the Hall of Fame in the same year. It's like,
Yeah.
there's room. Like, there's so much backlogging to be done with the Hockey Hall of Fame and women getting into it specifically. But they got it right this year in giving the call to two absolute legends with USA Hockey and Minnesota.
Look, I don't know if it was such a nightmare and a pain in the ass to play against these two and Natalie Darwitz and Krissy Wendell. Like it was just like great. Okay, so a 4-point night for both of them. How many do we have to score to even get close? You know what I mean? It was just like if we
Yeah.
could keep them both to 2 points, we might have a chance, you know? Because then you had Kelly Stevens who played on their line as well, who was a fantastic hockey player, had time with the USA national team as well. And it's like, gosh, they were a cool story about Krissy Wendell. We were or Pohl now. We were playing in Minnesota, and they were out just for like a skate without equipment on, just having some fun. Some of the guys were out skating with them as well.
Nice.
And I saw Krissy Wendell do the backhand toe drag before Datsuk did it.
Oh, I remember you telling me this.
Yeah, and I remember she did it, and I was like, "What the?" And I went and I grabbed one of my other teammates. I'm like, "Watch this!" And a couple of the guys, the Gopher guys that were skating with her, were like, "Wow! Like, show me how to do that!" And like, she went down and did it again, and I was like, "What the frig is that?"
Oh my
And she was showing them how to
gosh.
do it, and I was like, "This is insane! Like, how do we have to play against her? This is unfair." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was just like, she's on a whole other level, man. And it just was like, what a privilege to be able to play against someone like that and watch a moment like that. And then I saw Datsuk do it, and I was like, okay, who actually did this first? Because it was just
Where
like,
did he see this?
yeah. Anyways, as far as I'm concerned, Krissy retired way too soon. She retired after 2006 when their team got bronze in Torino, Italy. She's just, man, was God's gift to hockey. She was something to watch. Terrible to play against. I'm sure a ton of fun to play with. And, tacking on Natalie Darwitz next to her. I mean, the one Darwitz goal, or non-goal, I should say, in Halifax, actually, she had an office like where Ovi sets up, but a little higher. She was like near the top of the circles that she loved. And she wired a shot against Canada. I believe it was in the final. And it hit the back bar so fast and came out. Not a person had a clue. She was like, that was in, because she's Natalie Darwitz and she knows what she's doing out there. And she's like, that's where I was putting it. And that's where it went. And it went in and out so freaking fast. They did not have video replay then. So that goal did not count. And Canada went on to win by a score of 2-1, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I have to look back at that score. But that would have changed the game. And when you go back and watch the game, they actually had the replays and they're like, well, it was in, but there's no way to do it because it's not allowed. They don't have video replay here. So the call on the ice is the call that stands. And it was like, oh my God. This person is a weapon. And I remember penalty killing and stuff. Sometimes I'd be rotated on her side. And I was like, for the love of God, if I got to come out there and block this shot and she peppers me in the throat, like this is the last day I'll ever see. And like the thing is sometimes I'd come out and be like, for the team, like take it. And I'd come out and I'm like, I'm in the lane. There's no way she's getting this thing by me. And like, she always found a way to get it through and like score majority of the time. Anyways, both of them, hell of a hockey player, both of them, and fun to play with, I'm sure. But cripes, what a nightmare and a pain in the ass to play against. So well deserved to the both of them. You say long overdue. They should have been in there. Well, a lot of these women should have been in there years and years and years ago. So we're just really dipping back into the backlog. I could rhyme off a bunch of names like Vicky Sanahara and Holtz Ruth from Sweden. There's a bunch of ladies that still deserve and will have their place in the hall. But these two, like, no doubter. Ask anybody that played with or against them. It's just like, oh, they aren't in there already kind of thing. So yeah, congrats, ladies. Proud to say I played against you. Thanks for ruining my plus minus.
Congratulations. So well deserved. Nice to see for women's hockey, for USA Hockey, for Minnesota, and both these women still contributing to hockey today after their playing careers even. So big parts in building this game. And then we've got some signings, Tessa, around the PWHL since we last chatted with our listeners here. Toronto and Ottawa have made a whole slew of signings. We'll start with Ottawa, who's made a whole bunch of them. Couple free agent signings. Couple of the big fish in free agency, honestly, have landed on PWHL Ottawa, even though they lost maybe the biggest fish in Daryl Watts, who ended up going to Toronto. They kind of got Toronto back in being able to land Alexa Vasco and Rebecca Leslie. Alexa Vasco on a 1-year deal and Rebecca Leslie on a 1-year deal as well. Ottawa gal 9 going points. Home. Love to see that.
I was going to say 9 points in Toronto, but she's probably going to put up a lot more than that in front of those fans, let me tell you, especially with the home juju going.
Yep. She had the best face-off percentage on PWHL Toronto this year, so that'll be valuable for Ottawa. So a couple nice ads there in free agency for PWHL Ottawa. And then another free agent signing. Well, no, not free agent signing. Though it feels that way because she was drafted and because she's 30 years old. But we've watched Anna Mexner play for Austria. She's the captain of their national team. She's a good pro in the SDHL and should be a good signing. A little bit of veteran presence for the room there in Ottawa.
Yeah, and I feel like Ottawa's got a lot of good characters in the room, and I think that's going to make for a lot of fun. We talked about Gabby Hughes and not only a great hockey player, but someone that likes to have some fun in there. And I think that she's going to add a cool little dynamic to the room. Like you said, a seasoned vet, liked what she saw while she was over in the SDHL and was like, you know what, I'm going to go over to the PWHL, see what they got. And we'll see what she's got. I mean, look, it'll be interesting to see how a lot of these players, young and old, who didn't play in this league before, how they adapt right away, because all of these ladies that have played here the inaugural season know what it's like to play in full contact hockey. So they're prepped and primed, right? So we'll have to see what season 2 brings. And look, the ladies might not even play as physical in season 2 because they might be like, yo, that's too much. Or they might just be like, I got it. Let's turn it up a notch. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But it'll be interesting to see the adjustment of the new ladies coming in, especially after all these others have a year under their belt.
Yeah. Speaking of veteran presence, Cheyenne D'Arcangelo re-signs too for a
Yeah.
year with Ottawa. She was traded from Boston, obviously, and she was a nice fit there for Ottawa. And they also
T-
signed Logan Anders, free agent goalie,
yeah.
to I don't know if this one's 1 or 2 years. I'm sorry, that's my bad. But a lot of people were expecting to see her drafted, and after 6 really good years at Quinnipiac, and there she goes with
Yeah. I
Ottawa,
feel
and
like
Ottawa's kind of goalie situation locked up there.
Well, and yeah, and that's it, right? You were wondering what was going to be happening with the goaltending sitch in Ottawa, and I guess here we go. Now we know. As far as D'Arcangelo, I mean, she played 7 games in Ottawa. She obviously liked it there. She's probably enjoying her time under head coach Carla McLeod. Um, so it'll be nice to see her have a complete season. Obviously, if she doesn't get traded, but a complete season in Ottawa. I like the way this team's kind of shaping up. I feel like they understand and know what they've been looking for. They saw the way the game's played. I feel like teams have identities now, or know what they want their identity to be. Do you know what I mean? Because before everyone was like, well,
Yeah,
who's
totally.
to know? Let's just rally the troops and see what happens out there, and we'll put a system in place, and that's what happens. No, now teams are like, all right, we got a taste and let's get going. Ottawa missed the playoffs by that much, and they're like, you know what? We almost got it, and they were cooking at the right time. Just took a little too long to get going there. So, like I said, it's going to be cool to see all these teams come together and kick the season off because, like I said, there's going to be more of a footprint in that locker room, and it'll just be slotting people in and out as they see fit.
Definitely. And Toronto signs a whole bunch of their draft picks. Julie Gosling, 6th overall to a 2-year contract. Megan Carter, 12th overall to a 2-year contract. I think those 2 players are going to translate so well to this PWHL league. Both of them are
Huge.
big, physical, play different positions, obviously, but I think both of them are going to translate really well to the PWHL. And we got to shout out Pounds when we talked about Megan Carter, a proud attendee of her
Yeah.
hockey school all the way up. Pounds is so proud to see her get drafted.
Yeah, Megan Carter from Milton, Ontario, no biggie. Whoop whoop.
Woo
But
woo.
yeah, 2 bigger bodies that don't shy away from the physicality that are very skilled. I actually had a chance to chat with Megan Carter at the PWHL finals. She came on our airwaves and she was awesome. I mean, look, she was excited. She didn't care where she said she didn't care where she went, but when she got drafted to Toronto, she was like, I'm stoked I got chosen to Toronto. But
Oh my gosh, I bet.
they're just so eager to make an immediate impact. You know what I mean? And she said
Yep.
as much. I even asked her about the physicality. She was like, "Bring it. I'm ready for it." And I was like, "Cool." Cuz like I said before, this is the one issue that kind of worries me with some of these players. And one of the players that I kind of worry about is Izzy Daniel, the 18th overall
Mm,
pick that Toronto made. They signed her to a 2-year deal. Patty Kaz winner. Yes, I know, great hockey player. This is going to be a huge adjustment for her.
yeah. It's a different style for sure. And
100%.
Reagan Kirk, the goalie, signed 42nd
Yeah.
overall. So that rounds out Toronto's goaltending trio for the next at least couple years. They've got
2
things locked
years.
down. And that's a good trio that they've got.
Trio, my goodness, never mind. They've got a 1A and a 1B. Reagan
Yep.
Kirk, I've watched her play at Ohio State for a couple years now. Or last year, I really honed in on her, and I was like, okay, this kid can play. And Muzz didn't take it easy on her. She made her earn everything, and I was like, it's pretty cool. And when Toronto took her, I was like, they got a good one. And Soupy loves her. She was so pumped. She's like, I want my goalie pal Reagan to get picked. She got picked. So they've got like a
Nice.
1A and a 1B now, which is like, watch out, because now both of them are just going to be so totally rested and on their A game. And it's kind of like Boston when they had Swayman and Allmark. You know what I mean? I feel like
Right.
this is what Toronto's got cooking right here. And it's like,
Yeah. Or
you
Minnesota
look
this
at
season in the
Montreal,
PWHL, honestly.
Chuli Desbiens, that tandem that they had
Yeah,
was wild last year. So it's like teams are kind of catching on.
totally. You got to be deep, even between the pipes, it seems, in this league. And man, it's easy
Yeah,
to be when there's such a pool of talent to pick from.
that's
When you
it.
think about goalies, man, there's so many good goalies, and there's so few spots in this league. So,
Yeah,
the girls that are getting those spots are very elite.
yeah,
That wraps up our headlines this week, Tess, and we'll get to our player interview. You just mentioned her, guys. It is happening. We have
yep.
been teasing a goalie on the Jocks and Jills podcast for a minute, and you guys have been in our DMs and in our comments telling us we need to get a goalie on, and we are honestly sorry that we waited this long to get a goalie on because we both love goalies.
Yep.
So we're very excited to have this specific goalie on. And shout out to Nobis, who hooks up all the gals that we have on the podcast with a little treat as part of being on the Jocks and Jills podcast. So thank you to them. And thank you so much to Kristen Campbell as well. Here is our chat with her.
She's so funny, man. She packs a waffle maker on the road to make waffles for the ladies. That's why we love goalies, Julia. And that's why we're having her on our pod.
Okay, guys, it's finally happening. You have been asking for a goalie for a while, and we have just been waiting for the perfect moment, Tessa, to bring a goalie onto the Jocks and Jills podcast, because Tessa has actually proclaimed herself the biggest goalie lover of all times. And I love goalies. Goalies are the best. And we're starting off on the Jocks and Jills pod having one of the best on. She's the PWHL goaltender of the year. She's won everywhere in the NCAA. At the world's level, at the Olympic level. We are so fired up to have the one and only Kristen Campbell here on the Jocks and Jills pod. Kristen, thank you for hopping on with us, girl.
Our first tendy.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Big fan of your guys' podcast. So
you get to set the tone for the tenders. Like, we're excited to get to do that. So you're living on the West Coast right now, on the opposite kind of side of the country from where you grew up. But we'll start by going back to Brandon, Manitoba, where you still have lots of ties to and where you grew up playing hockey. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got into it? I know there's kind of a cool story about you always wanting to be a goalie, but playing D until pretty late in your kind of minor career, right?
Yeah. So I did start as a player in about grade 2. Me and my brother were actually D partners. He's 2 years older than me, but I played on like a local co-ed team with just all our friends from school. I come from a really small community, Forest, Manitoba. There's like 100 people who went to our school, maybe 150. So super tiny place. But yeah, I actually always looked up to Cassie Campbell, and I mean, last name's also the same. I wore number 77 and always pretended I was her out there. But I think, it's been pretty crazy. Like, I always wanted to be a goalie watching the Brandon Wheat Kings. That's who I looked up to. That was the only kind of team around Brandon to watch. But yeah, I always had to race to the rink with my dad to beat all the boys there to get the only set of goalie pads that our program had. They were like these old Furlan hockey pads that were like so ugly. Like, I look at pictures now and I'm like, oh my god, like I had the worst style ever. But yeah, they never wanted a girl in net, so I had to beat them there so that I could be the one in net. And yeah, it's a pretty cool story now, because I feel like even this year at the PWHL, I had so many little boys coming up to me like wanting my autograph, or like I got this message from this mom saying like this boy was pretending to beat me in his basement. And it's like just so cool, considering like when I was younger, boys weren't even accepting us in hockey. So pretty awesome.
That's wild. And then you got to meet Cass, which is pretty cool. You actually had the back of your helmet dedicated to you. And I know you talked a lot about it, but just what your relationship with Cassie started as and what it is now. Can you kind of go into that? I mean, look, she had a major impact on my career. I was lucky enough to be able to play with her and be in a locker room with her. Hands down, Hall of Fame leader. Undoubtedly one of the best leaders that I've ever come across in my life. So just that's my experience. But what was she to you in your career?
Yeah, I mean, that's been the neatest experience. I think just getting to know her as a person, now that I'm older, like she's really involved at the PWHL and Hockey Canada. I mean, growing up, I idolized her, and she was the reason I wanted to play on the national team one day. And yeah, I just think that now, like, getting to know her as a person and like just how amazing she is and how funny she is, it's just been a pleasure to like get to know her in that way. And yeah, she sends me texts here and there and always has my back and is supporting me. So yeah, it's just pretty neat and full circle, considering I could have never dreamt that as a little girl that one day I'd let alone meet her, or even get texts from her. Like, it's pretty wild, but she's just been super amazing and lucky to have had her here along the way.
Yeah, it's so cool to see that come full circle. So you've had a few like cool stops in your hockey career, and you've overcome a little bit of adversity. You went to UND. You were part of it was an incredible program there that unfortunately folded. They just sick rink as well. Can you tell us a little bit about maybe your decision to go to UND first, and then what it was like to be there, and like what it was like to be a part of that as it was folding. Like, take us into the POV of, must have been a really freaky experience.
Yeah, I mean, it was wild, like, even committing there, like, I grew up only 3.5 hours away from Grand Forks, so it was my dream to play there, and as you know, Tessa, like, that rink is pretty amazing, like, even though we
Dude,
didn't fill the
that's
seats there, it was pretty
didn't
empty.
matter.
But,
Who cares?
yeah, like, it was an incredible facility, and I dreamt of playing there, but I think, yeah, it's just the whole team, like, losing the program there, like, you can't even put it into words. I think it was really, really traumatic at the time for a lot of us, who obviously dreamt to play at that school, and then all of a sudden we're on the ice for practice. You've heard all the stories, but I just remember, like, there's all these rumors going around about our program's gonna get cut, like, all this, and I was like, "No, there's no way." Like, we have, like, 9 to 12, like, don't know the exact number, but Olympians who've come through this program, like, there's just no way that they can cut women's hockey here. So, like, I didn't think it was gonna happen, but then I just remember, like, being on the ice and, like, all our seniors were there, like, videotaping practice, and I was like, "Oh, this is weird, like, I wonder what's happening." And I still didn't really think anything of it, and then we got off the ice, and that's when, like, Brian Adolski, our head coach, had a meeting with us and told us the news, but, yeah, just a lot of tears and, like, a lot of shock, and then you kinda spend the next few weeks, like, taking it all in, but I just remember I was, like, trying to do everything I could to save our program. Like, I'm pretty sure I DM'd every single person in my Twitter list. Like, I'm not even kidding.
Aw.
Like, I found, like,
Yeah.
messages from girls that I now play with of, like, "Can you help save our team? Like, retweet this tweet." But it was, like, yeah, it was just you're
Aw.
trying to do everything you could, and I don't even think I, like, ate for, like, a week. I'm not kidding. Like, I lost, like, 20 pounds during that time.
Oh my
And, like,
gosh.
it was just a lot. Like, I feel like I took it really hard too because I redshirted it there, and, like, I was kind of just working up to be the starting goaltender there and, like, had this vision for myself as well, so I feel like all of a sudden now I was like, "Oh, wow," like, I don't even played, like, 1 college game, like, I don't know where I'm gonna end up, but luckily landed Wisconsin, but I'm just happy that everyone with the North Dakota program ended up with a team. I'm pretty sure, like, every single girl that had a chance to play the next year landed somewhere, so just
And you guys
and then
do you guys all keep in touch? I
yeah.
feel like that's a moment that would, like, really bring a group together.
Oh, yeah, like, we all keep in touch for sure, like, I mean, playing them was weird, like, there was girls in the WCHA when I went to Wisconsin, but I think you just always had this special bond because you went through the same experience and, like, you knew how hard it was and you held each other up during those times, and, yeah, I think we're
Yeah.
always gonna remember one vivid memory I have is one of the girls, like, stuck me in the back of a car and, like, closed, like, the trunk and, like, made me drive around Gun Forks in the back of the truck because I wouldn't stop talking about, like, what we can do to save our program. Like, I was still going off about it, like, a week later. So they're like, "CP, we're putting you in the trunk. Like, you're staying in here for, like, half an hour, and you're just gonna be by yourself." I was like, "I'll
Hold
never
that. You
forget
need to
that."
cool off. Yeah.
Did that help?
Yeah.
Like, did you meditate? Did that fix
Uh,
some of it?
I don't know if it helped much, but, like, it gave me a little timeout, and then maybe I toned it back a bit, but, yeah, it was crazy thinking about it all now, so
So then
Yeah,
did
yeah.
you
you reach
landed
out
on
to
your
us?
feet.
Yeah, did
Go
you
ahead,
reach out
Jess.
to Wisconsin, or did Wisco reach out to you?
Mm. No, so they reached out to me, like, every team, I guess there was, like, a grace period where it was, like, give everyone a few days to, like, process, and then they could start reaching out, but luckily, like, I had the ties with Jackie from UHC and Team Canada, so,
Mm.
yeah, like, when she reached out, it was just, like, a blessing in disguise, like, I had actually talked to Wisconsin at the same time as I talked to North Dakota, and, like, at the time, they didn't need a goalie, and all of a sudden, they were looking for someone to be able to step in and be a starter there, so, I mean, I saw the opportunity there, and I was, like, really grateful that she reached out, but, yeah, that was I visited, like, probably a few weeks later, so amidst all the chaos, like, that was such a positive that came out of it all, obviously, so
You're talking about Jackie Friesen. It's pretty cool that you got to play with her. I got to
mhm,
play against her. She was a nightmare to play against. I can only imagine how good of a coach she would be. But Mark Johnson, also a
mhm,
coach there who's amazing. I mean, you got 2 amazing coaches in those 2. Then you had teammates like Abby Rock, Samantha Kogan, Sophia Cunnin, Annie Pankowski, like Emily Clark, Sophie Shirley, who else?
mhm.
Uh, Daryl Watts. Like your the teams that you played on were ridiculously good. like as a
Oh, yeah.
goaltender, I don't know. Goalies have different approaches. So is that good for a goalie, or were you like, let some shots through, guys? Let some shots through.
Yeah, definitely there were games that were like more boring than others. You weren't getting much shots, but even when it's a low shot game, I wouldn't say I find it boring. Like I feel like you always have to be like ready and like you never know when there's gonna be a breakaway or like when your team has that much ozone possession, you know at some point
Yeah.
like there is gonna be a mistake and you're gonna have to be there when called upon. So I feel like it really taught me like even furthered like my mental resilience and yeah, you didn't see a lot of pucks. Like now if I see like over 20 shots in a game, which is most games, it's like this is amazing. Because before
Yeah.
it was like way harder when you're not
Yeah.
seeing as many shots. It would probably be like 15 to 20 a game average. So
Yeah. Your mental resilience is something to be talked about. Your mental game. Now, goaltenders are often known to be a little different in the mental game side of things. But for you, when Wisconsin made it to I believe it was the 2018 national championship, y'all lost that year, and you knew the following year was going to be, was it Quinnipiac
yeah,
in
Hamden, yeah.
2019?
hmm
Yeah, I heard you did some serious planning for that following year, and it literally started the day after you guys lost. What did you do to help prepare yourself for that following year? And a year that you guys won. I don't even think, did you even
There
let
was
a
so
goal in that tournament? I don't think
No,
you let a goal
Frozen
in at
4,
the
no goals allowed.
no goals
Still like
against.
an insane stat.
Yeah. Do you know
yeah,
what
I
she did,
just
Julia?
remember
Pardon me?
Tell her.
oh no,
Tell
I
her
was
what
just
she
gonna
did.
say I just remember like the next day after we lost because that was a double overtime game. Like I got home and well on the way home actually I was writing just like a blog about the whole season like on my computer and it ended up being like 20 pages long. But I felt like I just had like a lot to talk about because like
Casually.
everything yeah, it was a lot. Like I do like to write. So I just kind of wrote about like the experience at North Dakota and then like everything that happened at Wisconsin. But I took like a photo of the rink in Hamden, and put like a photo of the national championship trophy next to it and like hung it on the back of my door and wrote like, I will win the 2019 national championship in Hamden, Connecticut. And then every single day, like I woke up and just saw that and like I'm a big believer in like manifestation and imagery and all that. So that's one thing I did and yeah, it's wild. Like it ended up playing out and yeah, I remember too, like I had like it just sounds silly, but, like, I'm a big believer in imagery again, so I had, like, the runner-up trophy, and I would, like, hold it over my head and, like, visualize myself, like, lifting the actual one the next year and, like, things like that, so that might be, like, some quirky, but it ended up coming true, so
No,
yeah.
that's sick. I don't even qualify that as goalie quirkiness, honestly. I qualify that as like a really strong mental game. I think uh there's a lot to be said about manifestation and like envisioning things. Lots of pro
Totally.
teams have smart
Mhm.
mental coaches with them now, so it's pretty cool. It feels like you were a
She's a
little bit
big planner, Julia.
ahead
Big
of the
planner.
curve on that. Yeah, like down to
Yeah.
the minute, we've heard.
Uh, I wouldn't say minute, I would say hour. People think minute, but it's more like hour by hour. I have,
15-minute
like, a
intervals, maybe?
like, 30 maybe.
Okay,
People are
that's fair.
pushing
We
it.
can meet there.
My day planner is always very packed, so I
Yeah.
like to fit in as much as I can in a day.
Are you a paper day planner girl too? I am as well.
Yeah.
People like make fun of that a little bit, but I'm
Mhm.
into it. Doesn't hit the
Oh,
same when you
yeah.
put it in your iPhone.
No, I can't do that. I also need to, like I started color coding, which actually is, like, helpful.
What are your
That's
different
next
like
level, I think.
what are your different like subjects or colors? Like
Mm,
hockey, life, fitness? Like what are your
pretty
categories?
much. Yeah, like, I'll have, like, a color for, like, my on ice, a color for my off ice, and then,
Oh.
like, a color for, like, fun activities with friends and, like, hanging out and stuff.
Hanging
And
out?
then yeah. Like, if
What are
we're
you
going, like if we're going to, like, a movie or something, like, I'll put it in purple.
Okay.
Like, I just started doing this wasn't throughout the year, this is more like a postseason thing because it's more time consuming.
Yeah.
That's so fair.
But like
So when you
what do you fill in your days with? Like every
I
30
mean,
minutes,
every
are
30
you like,
minutes is kind of, like, a stretch even, but I feel like in
okay.
college, it was for sure, like, every 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
heard.
This year, it was more, like, hour by hour because I feel like I mean, we spent, like, 9 to 5 almost at the rink, especially for me because I'm really slow leaving. So I was there almost every day till like around 4 or 5. But by the time you get home, I mean, there's not much else to do. I would watch like PWHL games, right? Or just kind of hang out with my roommates. So in season wasn't as like the 30-30-30, or I probably would have been really exhausted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kidding.
So Toronto this year, tell me a little bit about the goalie trio, because I feel like you guys kind of had a good vibe going between the three of you. You all had different like a role that you played within the team. That was kind of a story that I liked following throughout the year with PWHL Toronto, and how the three of you like interacted and got along.
Yeah, no, we had such a fun goalie group. Yeah, Howie, I'd never played with her before, but I'd only heard amazing things from all her teammates and like how great of a teammate she is and just how funny she is. And yeah, it was fun to experience that firsthand. And I mean, she's had success at so many different levels, so she kind of mentored me too throughout the season. And she was someone I really leaned on, especially at the start there when I was getting my footing again and just getting back into regular game rotations.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we had a great partnership, and I think that it's really cool too that all three of us, like, we've been in every role before. Like, we've been a 1, 2, and a 3. So we can just relate to each other on every level. And CJ was just incredible. She was there for both of us at all times and has the most energy I've ever met out of a human being. So having her on the ice was just like a perfect compliment because, I mean, on the ice, I'm like very dialed in and intense and serious most of the time, but I still like to joke around a bit. And like, I feel like Howie is kind of like mostly like joking around, but also like can be intense too. But then I feel like CJ is just like always like the same. Like she's just like a ball of energy. And I feel like no matter what we needed at the time, like she was able to like bring either one of us up and like, or if she needed it, like we'd help her. And like we were just constantly like helping each other. But I think it's cool when it extends to beyond the ice. Like we had such a great relationship off the ice. So yeah, it was a special group of 3 for sure.
I like that. When you first moved to Toronto, you were worried about sending some stuff. So you had asked Bourbonnais, who's a friend of the show, for her parents' address to send some stuff. I heard, what kind of stuff were you sending there? What was some of the first packages you sent to her parents?
Oh my god, I barely remember the story actually, but yeah, I was just ordering things off Amazon because Jamie had offered me like her bed frame and like offered me like pillows and a rug and all this. I was like, sure, like that'd be great. But yeah, I just ordered like random things, but I feel like maybe toilet paper I sent to her.
Yeah. You sent so much toilet paper to her house. Her parents were like, is she okay? Why'd she send all this toilet paper to our house? You can buy toilet paper everywhere. Like, COVID's over. You know that, right?
That's a
I
hilarious thing to
know.
order on Amazon.
I think I got into this vibe though where I was like, I need to order everything on Amazon, which is so bad because I don't know, you don't need to do that, but it probably came from COVID where I was like ordering everything on Amazon.
That
That's
is
funny.
so good. Has anyone actually, hold on. I'll just ask what these lyrics mean to you, and then let me know if every teammate that you have had has experienced this. But here are the lyrics. It's 369, damn you're fine. Hope she can suck it to me one more time.
Oh my god, that song like literally gives me PTSD when I hear it now because I feel like every time it comes on, people just expect me to put on this performance. So it's like it's actually stressful. And like I remember it came on not long ago and I was like, oh my god, but then no one around knew what was happening. But yeah,
So it's a
that I don't
dance,
even
right?
know. It's a
Is it a
dance.
routine or is it just a certain energy that
It's
you put
like,
into it?
oh man, it is just random sometimes. Like every time it seems to like either get better or get worse, like depending on the vibe. But I think yeah, it's like a routine. Like it's a routine, but it's one that's continuously trying to evolve. But yeah, I feel like the dance started maybe in college, and then it for sure happened though during centralization because I remember at our rookie like whatever talent show. We had to like perform and then all of a sudden I was doing the dance. So yeah, everyone knows the dance and every time like after so I remember after my first one against the US, like Gina made me do it in the locker room in front of the whole team. And then staying with my first win in Finland, like I had to do it in front of the whole team and the coaches and everything in my gear, which is even harder.
Nice.
But yeah, it's become like a thing that even obviously at weddings, people always it plays and I have to do it, or like post-game celebrations, I have to do it. But yeah, it's become like a tradition and I feel like I'm known for it now. So
The origin of it, though, was it a planned like, had you been practicing this dance, like, in your room by yourself, and then there was a moment where the song came on, you're like, "I got a routine for this," or was it just, like, in the moment,
oh,
that's what I'm doing, and then it stuck?
yeah, it was more like an in the moment thing. It was an in
Really?
the moment thing, yeah, and then it kinda like I said, every time it came on, like, I added something to it, whether it would be, like, a somersault or, like, just something every time, and so people don't always know what they're getting, but they know that they're getting, like, the same thing at the start of the song. They don't know what's gonna happen after.
Is there video
But you're
out
a
there
big
of
like
this? I feel like we need this so bad, it's so good.
I'm sure I can
Verbatim?
find you a little clip of it.
Yeah, verbatim, Abby Rock, I should read you what she said to me. She said she performed it for us at, our Christmas party, and, she did it for us all when we were at Wisconsin. I don't think I'll ever be the
Jesus.
same after seeing it, and she still pulls it out for big events. It's a must-see.
Mm. Well,
For big
So this is
events.
something.
that's funny because she hasn't seen the newer version, so, like,
Oh,
that
it's
was
been
a long time
updated.
ago, that was,
Whoa.
like, 4 years ago, I've added a few things, so might have to send it to her.
Abby doesn't even know what's coming.
But Kristen, like dance routines aside, you're a big routines girl in general. I think there's been a couple features on your very extensive pregame routine. Um, can you walk us through kind of what a game day looks like? Because I know it's not just like the routine is not just at the rink; it's before the rink, and I think maybe even a little bit after. Like, spare no details. This is what the Jocks and Jills podcast is for the nitty
Yeah.
gritty of what Kristen Campbell's game day routine is like. So walk us through it. We need to know the
Mm.
superstitions.
Yeah, so a typical game day then, I wake up, you always pregame skate, I'm a big pregame skater, so
Okay.
usually wake up, have my breakfast, go to pregame skate. After pregame skate, I sometimes get a little bit of treatment, most of the time. I go home. Um, I well, honestly, my pregame routine depended. Like this year, it wasn't always the same. Like it usually was pretty close, but sometimes my roommate Rougeau would make me pregame meal. But then sometimes she wouldn't. Like it would just depend. Like sometimes she would text you like, "Hey, I made your pregame meal." So either that or I would order like a salmon pregame meal because I love salmon. But yeah, I would then go home and like take a 20-30 minute nap depending on how I feel. Um, Honestly, like, nothing is, like, super crazy besides, like, I have these glasses, and they're, like, flash glasses, but they, like, help you with tracking. So, like, I put those on, like, after my nap to kinda wake myself up, but I recently got this like, bouncing reacting board, so, like, I throw the balls at it. I can try to send you guys a video, but I don't know if I have a video of me actually doing it on game day because like, I'll set it up on my bed, and, like, Ruth said she could, like, hear, like, these balls, like, going off, like, against this thing, but she doesn't knock, so it's fine, but I usually, like, do that just to wake myself up because I find it, like, really helpful. And then, yeah, like, I just get ready for the game. I always get my Starbucks coffee, FaceTime my parents usually before the game, and yeah, and then at the rink, like, I feel like people think I have this crazy, like, superstitious routine, but I always juggle, like, that's a part of my pregame routine. I
Nice.
always, like, lay out all my equipment, like, so that it's ready to just put on, like, I'll put everything on top of my pads and, like, just kinda organize my stall. I also have, like, 10 Gatorades, people say, but I hydrate really heavily, like, Renata and Joss and them make fun of me because like, I'll line up, like, 2 G0s, like, an Element, like, a couple normal Gatorades, and, like, 4 waters, like, I
Oh
literally
my
drink
gosh.
I sweat like crazy though, like, my
Do you pee
Gatorades
between periods? You've got to be peeing between periods.
yeah, like, I pee after warm up and then after the first and then sometimes after the second, but I'm so hydrated, but my Gatorade sweat test was, like, 4 or 5 times the normal, like, not even kidding. So, like, I do
Wow.
need the liquids. But, yeah, now medical just wants to have, like, multiple bottles ready on the bench and everything. But, yeah, that's a part of my routine now is actually, like, lining up my liquids for the game. Yeah, then I take my stick and juggle behind the net that I'm gonna be in for 2 periods because I, again, like to do imagery and just, like, put myself in that space before it happens, and then go to team warm-up, and then yeah, I used to have a routine where Emily Clark were always rode on my stick every game, but then since she's not on my team anymore, I do it for her. But Spooner actually recently started drawing, like, Soup and Spoon on my stick, like, for the playoffs, and that was really cute, but
It's cute.
yeah,
Aw.
I feel like nothing is the thing that I have learned this year, though, is, like, I'm very adaptable, like, even, like, for my arrival time at the rink, like, my Uber was, like, 25, 30 minutes late one day, and I was, like, not even that stressed when, like, my old self would have been, like, freaking out. Like, I'm just kinda like, "Whatever, like, I'll get there when I get there," so nothing is, like, super, like, strict, but there's just things that I like to do to make me feel good.
Now, I I've heard rumblings of essential oils. I didn't hear you mention them once. Have they been removed from the
Oh,
pregame
Okay.
routine?
I forgot about that. I also with my liquid lineup, I have, like, a little Peppermint Halo. I started like, I love the
that's the
sage oils.
best.
I know, I love sage stuff, but I saw the girls, though, like, this was, like, Claire Thompson and, like, all the D, like, at the Olympics were using, like, peppermint, like, as, like, a
It's better
snack.
than smelling salts, I swear. Dude, I swear when I have
Yeah.
a headache, a little bit of that on the back of your neck clears you right up. Tessa's
Mhm.
like, "You too, woo-woo."
Yeah.
Crazy asses.
Well, no, I started using that before I went on the ice, and, like, I felt like it helped, but also if I had a headache, I would just rub peppermint on my neck, but then, like,
Yeah.
for warm-ups, everyone's like, "All I can smell is sage," because like, it's just getting, like, sweaty and your whole body's, like, radiating peppermint halo, but
You're
yeah.
dehumidifying it around the room with your sweat.
Yeah,
That is awesome.
pretty much,
Better than
yeah.
rank gear.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it smells pretty good, actually, so
Nice.
That's fun. I love that. Your parents, you mentioned calling your parents Brett and Janet, I believe their names are. I've met them a few times. For everybody out there, her parents are beauties. Like they are very good people. Ran into them when we were in Utica, the bar. Snapped a pic
Mm.
with them after one game, then after the final game or before the final, I can't remember one of the games, went in there, snapped another pic with them, saw them in Minnesota at the awards, snapped a pic with them there, just
There's a whole
great.
album somewhere.
They
We
probably
we've
have just a
started
whole album with Tessa.
we've started an album on Facebook.
Yeah.
But they are like they remind me of my parents a little bit because I grew up in Sudbury and I played in Ohio, and it was about 11-hour drive for them every time, and they did not miss a weekend if they didn't have to. And your parents, so I've heard, have trekked everywhere and they drive, right? Like they are
Mhm.
just like, get in the car, Janet, we're going to watch Kristen play, and it doesn't matter
Yeah.
how far or where it is, they're going.
Yeah, no, they've in college, they didn't miss a weekend either. I don't think it was 14 hours to Madison, but my dad, his nickname on the team was Senior Soupy, but they also called him Night Rider because he would, like, drive through the whole night and show up at, like, the breakfast club right next to my house, like, and have breakfast at, like, 8 AM, but he literally would have driven the whole night because he preferred driving at dark because he beats the Minnesota traffic because there's no one on the road at, like, 4 AM. But no,
I mean,
they've
he's not
been
wrong.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been literally everywhere, and, like, in the playoffs, they drove out to Toronto, which is 24-hour drive from my house, but they came probably, like, a handful of times throughout the year driving, but then eventually I was like, "Okay, like, just fly," because it's, like, far, and he loves driving, but for playoffs, they came to Toronto for the first 2, and then he drove to Minnesota for the 3rd, and then my mom was like, "I really wanna go to game 5," but he'd been away for, like, 4 days at that po or 4 days, like, 2 weeks at that point because they came out early. So then they got home to
Yeah.
Winnipeg or to Brandon, and then my mom drove into Winnipeg and, like, took a flight to game 5, and that was, like, the next
Oh,
day, so, yeah, they don't miss much, but I'm really lucky that they're always supporting me and has been there every step of the way.
When they
Nice.
come, do they
Awesome.
bring pizza from Brandon, Manitoba? Because I'm kind of in the know that Brandon, Manitoba's got some of the best pizza. Like, if I were to ask you, like, Romano's, Marino's, or Pizza Express, which is the best, what would your pick be?
So recently, when they order
Romana's,
pizza,
sorry.
it's always Pizza Express that they get. Yeah, actually, the owner like used to coach me growing up for hockey, so I think his
Classic.
dad owns Pizza Express. Yeah, but
Nice.
they're really good. Now that you think of it, or now that you say it, like we do have really good pizza, but I honestly never
Yeah.
thought of Brandon as like really good pizza. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's something we have there.
Pizza
I
spot.
feel like we always stop when we're
So
going
they-
through there when we're going west. Sudbury has elite pizza as well. Tessa, Mama B's. Like, I think about that. I sometimes make that. No, that's in the Sioux. Which one is in Sudbury?
Sudbury's got everything good. We got wicked porchetta.
I'm thinking
We've
of one
got-
specific pizza place in Sudbury that like rocked my socks. Anyways, I'm off on a tangent now. Maybe the comments will figure it out or something.
It's Don's Pizzeria.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Thank you, Tessa.
It's Don's.
Amazing. Shout out Don's. You rock. And shout out Mama B's in Sault Ste. Marie as well. And all those places in Brandon, Manitoba. I love good pizza in
Don's
small
Pizzeria
towns.
is legit. You know what we should do? I should bring a za from Don's. Julia, you can maybe get your dad when he's on one of his drives to grab a pizza from the Sioux. And then hopefully your parents are in town, Kristen. We can just get them to drive on up or down, I guess, a pizza from Pizza Express or any one of those other two that I had named. And we can have a pizza off. We can do a taste
Small
testing.
town slice off. That's what we're going to call it. It's
We
going
should
to
do
be
that.
Doing.
all the little towns and their best pizzas. We'll get Windsor in the mix. I know that they've got some wicked
That's not
pizza
fair.
in that neck of the woods.
That's not fair. Windsor's next level. That's not fair.
Windsor's
Windsor,
too good.
stay in your
We
lane.
can't
Stay in
include
your
them.
lane. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, I like this idea.
me too. All right, enough about pizza. We got off on a tangent there.
Yeah, we did, and now I'm kind of hungry, honestly. We're filming this in the middle of the day, and now I'm going to end up getting pizza. To pay for the pizza ventures in Brandon, are you a Facebook Marketplace girly? Like, does your dad drive you to do the deals? Or do the deals happen in Toronto? Like, what's your connection with Facebook Marketplace?
I don't really go on it much anymore. I was on it in
Oh.
Calgary, like when I was selling stuff.
It was a big
to
era, though.
move. Like, yeah, I feel like when I was leaving there, because I was there from 2020 to 2020, like 2 or 3 years, and I accumulated a lot of stuff. So I
Yeah.
kept like during COVID or at the end of it, I was like kind of on this Facebook Marketplace where I was
Vendor.
just selling like a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
Vendor. But honestly, not really anymore. Like I've heard that the Toronto one isn't super like reliable. I don't know.
Like, do you send
even
someone to do the deals, or do you do the deals yourself? I'm like a big, like, send somebody else to do the dirty work for me.
Well, honestly, I was just like, I lived with Micah, like Zandy Hart,
Yeah.
and she was like fine with it. Like she knew I was always selling stuff on Marketplace.
Having strangers at the house.
People were just like coming to our house, but I would like look up their profile, and like a lot of the time though it was weird. Like it would be people that knew us through hockey or like
Oh, that's
coached,
cool.
like their kids came to like our camp, or like it was always like seemed like people we kind of knew. So it
Definitely
felt
a
safe.
different vibe on Facebook Marketplace in Calgary than it would be here in downtown
No,
Toronto.
I was going to say,
No?
be careful out there using your own profile.
You've got a story?
Well, yeah. One time usually I sell through Eds. And one time I just, whatever reason, brain fart, posted what was it, like an umbrella stroller that we had. I was like, we're getting all this baby crap out of here. Like, we are done. And a guy showed up and he was like, Tessa from TSN, I knew it. And I'm like, that's not good. Thank you, sir. Here's your stroller.
Oh,
Check you
no.
later.
Do you have a baby,
Yeah.
mister? Please.
Yeah, go away.
I got a couple like
Yeah.
DMs or messages saying like, can you include an autograph card like with this?
What?
Like of yourself. Yeah. And like one time they came to the house and like it was cute actually. Like she brought her daughter like to purchase and like to meet me, I guess. She was like a goalie. But then I was trying to get rid of things, so I just like signed her a stick and was like, here you go.
Yeah, take this
So she
shoe.
got
Special.
like a pair of shoes maybe or something and a stick. But yeah, my
Nice.
marketplace days are definitely over, I think.
Yeah,
You're retired.
with you on
I like
that.
it. You've got
Yeah.
lots to do now, so you're very busy these days. No more time to peddle
Yeah.
on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
And I'd assume you're busy today. So we appreciate the time so much, Kristen. The first goalie on the Jocks and Jills podcast. You didn't disappoint. This was awesome. So thanks for coming on with us.
Thank you guys. Enjoy your summer.
Thank you. You too.
Me too.
Kristen is hilariously like the most goalie ever, and I mean that in the best way possible.
Yeah.
That as far as just debuting goalies on the Jocks and Jills pod, like that was everything that we needed and more.
Yeah. Just that. And I can't wait for our pizza. What did you call it? The pizza
Oh my god, I forgot what I said. Small town slice off. Is that what I said?
small town slice. Yeah.
Small town slice off. I'm so
Yeah.
glad that this is recorded. We can go
Can't
back
even
and
wait for
see what
that.
the hell I said. I'm gonna go have some pizza. You guys enjoy. Oh, by the time you hear this, we're gonna enjoy our long weekend now because we're recording this on Friday. We hope you guys enjoyed your long weekends by the time you hear this. Thank you to our sponsors, our presenting sponsor, as always, at CCM and Nobis as well. We love you guys, and we love everyone for listening as well. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, on TikTok, on X. Follow us on Instagram at Johnson Jills, and we'll talk to you next week.